Here we have a 1960s skirt suit. It is handmade. I bought it on Depop some months ago and I didn't really like the way that the neckline was. It was way too shallow. I wanted to deepen it a little bit just to make it a bit more comfortable. It was really pulled around the neck. It also had some very tiny little hooks and eyes which were damaging the boucle fabric. It's quite delicate boucle fabric with a bit of silver and gold thread through it. It was a handmade suit. It didn't have a lining, so it was quite easy to actually plan to do this little renovation on it. I took all the hooks and eyes off. Here I am opening out the facings just so that I can see what's going on, and I clipped the where the facings were stitched to the seams, and so I could open it out completely. And I actually used a neckline template, just a piece of plastic with a marking on it to mark a new neckline, and traced that out, pinned it, tacked it, and then stitched it on the machine. Made sure as well that each side was exactly the same measurement so that I didn't have it wonky on either side. And it was a fairly easy process to do, not very much stitching. And it actually turned out really, really well. Here I am basting it. I just basted it so that I could turn it back out and make absolutely sure that it was even and that it was exactly the finish that I wanted. I didn't want to make it too deep, just make it into more of a crew neck rather than a jewel neck. It was, as I said, very uncomfortable and pulling across my neck, and I didn't really like the feel of that. I trimmed the seam, gave it a little bit of a run over with a flame, and you can see that it's now a nice kind of curve, nothing too crazy. I notched those curved edges as well, just so that it would all sit really nicely. There's quite a few layers of fabric and the boucle is quite thick. There was also a layer of interfacing here that I wanted to just make sure it wasn't too bulky in the seam. So just clipping the notches there and at the seams before I turned it all out. And as you can see, the curve actually was really good. I did put my scissors into the point. When you're doing this, be very, very careful. Just give it a little nudge. I'm pretty experienced with this, but you can have a blowout and that can be detrimental, especially if you're using a loose weave fabric. Just that nice curve there, as you can see. And I retacked the facing back onto the seams here, just to give it a nice neat finish so that the facings didn't flop back out. And then instead of the old tiny hooks and eyes, I actually got some fur hooks, which are covered metal hooks, meant of course for furs, but these ones I got from Spotlight, and they really did the job. They're not going to damage that delicate boucle fabric like those tiny little metal hooks and eyes would. And I made sure that I stitched them just through the facing layer, but I did make sure that a couple of stitches went through invisibly to the front so that it didn't pull too much. The problem with these big hooks and eyes is you can have a pulling effect on the front. And here it is all finished. Looks pretty good. I matched up fairly evenly. It wasn't exactly matched when I bought it, but for a handmade suit, it is pretty cute. And I styled it with a sweater that I actually made myself. I knitted it out of 4-ply yarn. I will link the pattern below. And some coral orange shoes, which I had, and I think it looks pretty good. Tell me what you think in the comments.